You need to know what to do with that dough. Let the chef show you. You need to know what to do with that dough.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Need to Know Pod. I'm your host, Chef Sahira. In today's episode, I want you to listen to a conversation that I had with Chef Melvin Boots Johnson. Chef Boots is the executive chef of the Victoria, as well as the owner of Harlem Biscuit Company. He is also the winner of Food Network's Grill Master. So he is the Grill Master Chop Champion. My full interview with him, some of the audio was a little choppy, so I took out the best parts. So sit back and enjoy and listen to part one of my conversation with Chef Boots Johnson. Tell me a little bit about Harlem Biscuit Company and what made you go from working in these restaurants to decide to open up Harlem Biscuit Company?
But how Biscuit came about, I opened up restaurants for Kevin Johnson, a big basketball player from the Phoenix Suns back in the day. So he'd fly me out to Sacramento to create this restaurant called Fixin's Southern Table. They're all throughout there. They're in Detroit now, Tulsa, Oklahoma, LA, Sacramento. They're looking to come here in New York. It's a chain now. I started that with them. And I was right when COVID hit. So when COVID hit, I came back to New York. And I wasn't going back and forth on the plane anymore to Sacramento. So I was dating a young lady in New Rochelle. And, after a couple of months of being locked in the house with, her, the kids, and just you can't do nothing, I started using that chopped stuff, saying that, hey, the Chop Grill Master Champion lives in your neighborhood. He's cooking on Friday. Here's the menu. So 2 months into COVID, moms are very, tired of cooking for the kids 3 meals a day plus 2 snacks. So they was excited that there was brothers out there making barbecue fries and giving collard greens and mac and cheese and potato salad and selling that stuff on the garage. I did that every Friday for a year, and just became like a weekly thing that people were just excited about. I mean, it got so popular that I had to put my menu up and assign pickup times for people because it caught on. So with that, I created Harlem Biscuit Company. Just to seeing something worked, right? So I called my buddy Carl that owns a 67 Orange bar here in Harlem, and I was like, hey, can I use your place for a couple of weeks to see if this idea I have worked? And we opened on November 3rd, Election Day, and we just got here, try it out. So we did a 2-week pop-up. And now we're celebrating our 5th year of being in business. So it was kind of an oops. People kept asking for more biscuits when I was doing the barbecue and the fried chicken and biscuit at the garage. They kept saying, "Can we get more biscuits? Can we get more biscuits?" I'm like, what's up with these biscuits? I make these biscuits all the time. But
now, I will say, as a pastry chef, you did tell me that your biscuit is, you said you overworked the dough.
Yeah, it shouldn't work.
Yeah, because it's like a sandwich. And the chicken is very tasty. I had to wait till I got back home, but no matter of fact, I tasted a little bit in the car. It was very, very seasoned very well, and not too many places. I was impressed. Not too many places you can go and get just really take in the seasoning, especially when it comes to. I guess I didn't know what to expect, but I knew what all the different names that you had. And I didn't eat pork. I don't eat pork, so I just was like, what can I do? But the chicken was really, really good. It was really, really good.
Our chicken is a couple things of chicken. The chicken at Biscuit, we do like a seasoning in the buttermilk. So it sits there in the buttermilk, nice and seasoned. Uh, and we only do it the day of. We don't, it's not that buttermilk fried chicken stuff that people be doing, and that's ugh. Because because they're missing people talk about buttermilk fried chicken, and they always miss a step. It's not it's buttermilk brine, then it's taken out, and it does they keep that taken out part. The thing is that I use the buttermilk and our seasoning or chicken there, just so the flour really adheres to it. Not that it's there to brine the chicken. Two different things.
Egg, like using an egg.
Two different things. And then we use flour and corn flour, masa, for the breading. So it gives it that nutty taste to it. Plus the paprika and garlic and onion and all that, blah, blah, blah. But that corn gives it a different texture and a different flavor that I actually really like. Here at Victoria, we do a wet brine for 24 hours. So it's salt, sugars, cayenne pepper, paprika, and all that stuff into that brine, wet brine, and that chicken is soaking that up for 24 hours, and then you take it out.
I guess the only time I do a brine is like from a turkey, but I learned that one of the things I did learn in culinary school, that's because I asked, because I was, like I said, I always watched or was interested in cooking. So once the Food Network came out, and that was new to me. You grow up having a turkey in the oven for so many hours, yada, yada, yada. That brine was a lifesaver. And, there was a phase, oh, I'm frying my turkey. That brine is serious.
Yeah, for turkey's a couple of days too. It's not overnight. You got to get into that. You got to get in there. My grandma used to do it. I was raised. It was all right before things. It was always a blue igloo cooler in the refrigerator in the kitchen. That's what she had her birds in. And it's like my mother was, man, that woman was a fried chicken. But she would always do the same thing, and it was Lawry's, black pepper, granulated garlic, granulated onion. That was her thing. And she would do it, and she would have a brown bag with a little Ziploc. First brown bag, because Ziplocs didn't have them. You had money.
It's brown bags, and now all of a sudden you see other people talking about, oh, use a brown bag like they invented it. We grew up on brown bags.
You got a brown bag.
Yes.
Brown bag.
Yeah.
And it was really cool when you just wanted a snack, you grabbed that brown lunch bag. It was small. But you had to hold the bottom because it wasn't very strong. You had to shake it. That's when my mother used to pull out. My mother would do this. I swear, she would have those little drumettes in the freezer. She'd go up, just pull out 5 or 6 at a time. That was her snack. She always had a cast iron. Always had oil in it. The fried chicken. We had the bacon grease can, you had the chicken can, all that. But that was like her snack. And she would sit there, take a little bag.
Mm-hmm.
And she had the little small lunch bag. Remember when you put your sandwich in? You're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Because y'all always can get the big bag. Well, actually, my family, we would have the big chopping bag when we have our supermarket. When we would go to our like family reunion and stuff, and we'd be frying chicken out of the park. And they had these big old bags, and they were shaking, fried. Man, come on now. But take them brown bag, you open it up, you sit on the. I used to sit right next to my grandma and her little lazy boy. We would sit there and chuck peas on them brown bags. Tear it open it up, and there's got. And that's how I grew up. It's just like we just cooked. That's why I don't go to Trader Joe's. I don't go to too much stuff is processed. Folks don't cook no more.
Oh my goodness, we're getting salty. That's what I'm talking about. I'm telling you.
And I try to have my food. My food needs to give you a sense of calm. You have to eat it and you just go, oh. Because like you at your grandmama's table. You taste my biscuit. You could hear your grandmama sliding her feet with her slippers on, telling you, "Hey, don't be slamming my door. Come in our house." You got Kool-Aid. You got something with something that you want to cold to drink. Don't be running outside of my house. Well, that's where I cook from because it has to give you that type of nostalgia.
You created the entire menu at the Victoria?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So can I ask you, can you tell us what does a day in the life of an executive chef look like? When you come in, like what do you do? How do you set the tea? So for me, I keep saying, I went to school late in life. I was already married with kids because nobody told me you could go to culinary school. So I had a job. I didn't have time to go work in somebody's kitchen. I did my externship and that was it. I never wanted to go work in the kitchen. In my mind, I think I always said I could have my own business, but I never knew how to bake. So I knew how to cook, didn't know how to bake. So to see, and in the pastry department, it's very mellow. It's very mellow. Like you showed me a kitchen, so where all the prep work is going, and then you said we ship it upstairs or downstairs. But that's what we did. I was in the kitchen where it wasn't a whole lot of action, taking orders and stuff like that. So tell us, what does a day in the life of an executive chef look like?
Oh, you say it like you actually turn off. You're being an executive chef and owners of restaurants. You actually never are off. I get some rest. Here's a good one for you. Yesterday, here at the Victoria, I launched 3 new menus: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I had to come in and teach my staff breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I was on the line from 6 in the morning till 10 at night. Bang. I cooked almost every dish that came out with my staff. I went home because I'm an old man and I had to take 2 shots of whiskey, take my high blood pressure medicine, and go lay down. At 6 in the morning, this morning, my phone starts going. Because I have my baker start comes in at Biscuit. St. Croix is an hour ahead of us. And then I have my other crew here in Victoria coming in at 6 o'clock. So any kind of questions or any kind of thing, you got to be the guy that answers the phone. So then I rolled out of bed, and then my legs were still shaky from yesterday being on for so long. And I walked to the bathroom and had to make sure I actually limped because I moved and my legs didn't start working fast like I used to.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's taxing on your body to be in a restaurant, standing all the time. I feel like the 4 years I had my shop, I might have did some damage.
Well, I'm talking about we can go back to that one. And then I came to the hotel here, and we went through our new prep sheets. Me and my prep guys are line by line, and so we see what was sold yesterday, what was not, what we need to prep, so we don't, what we have to redo. What I got to look at the recipe book to see how I'm going to change some procedures on how to get this thing out, and I just do that every single day. You have to give me a reason to leave my kitchen. I had an interview with a lady that's from the pastry department yesterday, Black History Month. She's in a pastry program at CIA, and she came by yesterday, interviewed me, and we talked, and she kind of had to come some of the same questions, but the question was more like, what do you say to the aspiring new Black chefs coming up into this industry? And the biggest thing I can say to her, I can see you and your fan base here. You have to be obsessed with this. This is not just because I like to cook. I do this because that's who I am. I never say that I'm a chef. I don't like because for me, being a chef is not a job; it's a lifestyle. I never say. My friends say I'm a chef. I go out. I just cook. It's just me. It's who I am. I'm not. I'm not. I don't. I don't. I never talk about it because it's just who I am. I can't do anything else. So I just cook. And I love food. I love what people are doing with food.
Being a black chef, whether you want to call yourself that or not, that's what I'm calling it. Did you find how was that in the industry? For me, what I found. So let me just tell you a little bit about me real quick. I'm passionate about when it comes to baking. I bake from scratch. Love teaching people that, but also elevating the flavors that we grew up on. Because in culinary school, they only teach you what they deem to be, worthy of, European stuff. But they're not teaching you. Yes, I can make a pie crust from scratch, but you're not showing me how to make a sweet potato pie. You're not showing me how to make really like a banana pudding. I know what it takes to put it together to elevate it. But so I just feel like, and then what happens is you see all these other people, come in and make what we grew up on on these TV shows, getting paid for it.
There's a time a couple years ago where I was like, I'm going to reclaim my food, and I really started talking about shrimp and grits a lot more. And really looking at, when was how was it developed, where was it? It was called breakfast shrimp back in the day, Where the fishermen had their rations. They would go out on the fishing boats and they would grab up some shrimp. It was called breakfast shrimp. But every white boy in America got a doggone shrimp and grits on their menu. Some of them say they call it polenta. The same damn thing.
Hello. You better
say so it's just like, it's like I was asked by the owners of the Marriott, this building that I'm in, to put chicken and waffles on my menu. I didn't want to do it because everybody's bastardized it so much now.
Yes.
So I have to do it something different because now, every white boy in this got it all on their menu like it's something they created.
Yes. You better say a thing.
Shrimp and grits. Red beans and come on. It's like we've been cooking this food for so long, but Sean Brocco was great. Oh my God, he's freaking amazing. And he's probably had the best Mind of a Chef episode I've seen. But when he made gumbo, he went back to West Africa to actually this is what gumbo is. You can't have gumbo without okra because gumbo is okra. It's like it's brand new. And we've been doing this food for so long, for so many people. Like you talking about, sweet potato pies and banana puddings and peach pecan pies. We learned all these things from, oxtails. I'm done.
That's it. Don't get me started.
I'm done.
That's it. Mic drop. That's it.
Bro, I'm waiting for chitlins to make its way around.
That's it. You saying the thing.
Come on.
What?
What?
That's it. You better stop playing with me, Chef. Yes. That's just why I'm so passionate about it. And then they put out this stuff that they deem to be great. And like you said, everything is so processed. So I do most of my cooking for myself because when you go places, everybody just because they tell you on YouTube how to cook, there's a lot of people who don't know how to cook. That's number one. But number two, like you said, the shrimp and grits. Everybody and their mother think they can make macaroni and cheese, which is fine. But I also heard you mention, I think you was doing was it a wedding bridal book or something like that. That's the interview I watched. And you mentioned you went to South Carolina, the Gullah Geechee, I don't want to say community.
Cooking shrimp and grits. Yeah.
Okay, shrimp and grits.
Mm-hmm.
So when you said that, when I had my shop, we had, I don't know if you know Chef BJ Dennis. He was on High on the Hog. And he specializes in Gullah Geechee cuisine.
Yep.
So when I had my shop, Staten Island, if you know anything about Staten Island, go figure. But they brought him here to the Staten Island Museum. And there was no places to really, you bring them into a community, but they don't know about the community. So somebody reached out to me like, oh, you want to work with him? So he stayed at my shop for 2 days. He cooked everything and brought it over to the museum. When I tell you he was whipping that food up, and I got such an education, and before High on the Hog came out, he had already did a rice tasting, and he showed me in made all these different rice dishes with like black rice and red rice, and he made shrimp and grits. And he said in South Carolina they use broken rice, and that's what they use for their grits. But he made me. That's one of the best things I ever had. Because on the weekends I would do a brunch menu. I do shrimp and grits, not so much with the brown gravy. Even though grits with a gravy is the best thing. A lot of people not up on a gravy with some grits with a biscuit.
Who knew?
What? He made me. He said, let me. He took it over. He said, let me try something. Or let me show you something. So I made the grits. He had some crab meat. And he made a crab gravy with those grits. When I tell you it was one of the best things I couldn't believe it. It was so good. So good. And just to see that in person.
I do a really, 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 really dark roux. Like really dark roux. Now I had put clam juice in it. Get that going. And you salad simmer with a little butter. Then you throw your oysters in there with a little bit of that oyster juice. And you let that start simmering now. And you throw that, now that's an oyster there to fade out. You put that on some grits, let me tell you that, boy. Because the bitterness of that roux, if you take it that far, it balances out with those oysters that it's just beautiful mouthfeel. And the shine of the gravy, because you took some time with that roux, you could tell it has that steam to it. And you throw in that butter for it balances out a little bit more. And that's
a key. A lot of people don't know. You put that little extra butter in there. So once you taste it.
And those oysters start plumping up because they sitting there in that gravy and they getting that nice little plump to them. You cut them open, you got that gray inside. And
Well, I'm going to have to come back there for a dinner service. I'm definitely going to have to come back for a dinner service.
Dinner's been cool. We all started a new menu yesterday.
Okay.
I'm really going with more of family style stuff. Well, I'm getting away from the composed plate of everybody's get your own plate. I want people to like put food in the middle of the table and just eat, eat here and there and throughout. I want it, so I wrote it that way to where it makes you share. We're doing a cold bouillon. I got some snapper in. I got some the salmon, some the nice Creole sauce, not a deal, white wine. I brought in some alligator. So we're doing some
I don't mess with the alligator.
hog. You gonna eat anyway on the pork. You're doing hog and gator meatballs.
Okay.
And for the binder, how people make a meatball, they usually put what inside to put together. What they put in there? Make a meatball.
Either like the binder, like an egg or some breadcrumb.
Right.
Some people use cracker.
Right. Well, I use cornbread, so it adds that sweetness and some texture to it. Where
meatballs.
Or meatballs. I just make meatballs like that. So we do that, and we simmer that with some sauce too. With that gator. We do what else are we doing? I'm bringing in some oysters from Virginia. We're doing whole snappers from the Gulf of Mexico or Gulf of America, as we say.
Hello. You better get it right.
We in trouble. That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother podcast. Please. Please.
So yeah, so we're doing all that. I do want to circle back real fast on being a chef in this, growing up as a Black chef in this community, in the culinary community. Because I've been in kitchens where I was the only Black person in the building, right? And I've been fortunate enough to work with a few other people that went to CIA, and they used to test me when we was on the line, cooking. But once I became into the position of where I can hire and fire, I started reaching back and bringing brothers up. So I was working for a restaurant in Las Vegas, and I got fired for hiring too many Black folks. We cooking fried chicken and collard greens. Who else gonna cook it better?
Right.
When you look when you go to an Asian restaurant, who you gonna see cooking it?
That's right.
Why is it that when you go to a Black restaurant, any restaurant, that we gotta be the only ones? We can't be the only ones cooking it. And why is it so bad that we specialize in our food? Why is it such a bad thing? Brothers are out there, like other Black chefs too. Brothers are like, well, I want to learn more than that. Yeah, all right, fine, great, then learn it. Shit, I don't care. I made it my personal preference that I will take my grandmother's food and put something on it.
That's right.
Why is that less Black?
They show you how to make all this fancy schmancy stuff in school, and then when you go spend all this money in a restaurant, you're gonna still be hungry, and it's not necessarily stuff that I want to eat. I'm just saying.
I eat a lot of Asian food. That's my go-to, because I can't go out and eat fried chicken. I just can't. I cook like 700 pounds a week. I mean, come on. It's like I'm not going. I actually don't like mac and cheese, so I don't go out to eat it.
What?
I just can't do it. Not that I just eat it all the time. I'm just tired of eating it. People always say, why do you always go to the same restaurants? I like Asian hot pot is like my favorite thing in the world. I can eat that every day. But the reason is it's hot. My favorite meal is when I have to blow on and eat it. Like so many times I don't get hot food. I make something, I get called away from it. I'm tired, I order delivery. I like to go out to eat and get something that's hot. I want a hot meal. I want to blow on my food and I'm gonna do all that shit. I'm so sorry, but it's like I like hot food. So I tend to go to restaurants where I know it's coming right out of the fire and it's going right in my mouth.
You need to know what to do with that dough. Let the chef show you. You need to know what to do with that dough.